Chapter 1. My Second Chance. When I opened my eyes, the ceiling looked too familiar. The peeling white paint, the weak sunlight slipping through the curtains. It wasn't supposed to exist anymore. I touched my face, my chest, my hands. My body felt lighter, younger. My heart began to race. "No, this can't be," I whispered. I stumbled to the mirror. The reflection staring back wasn't the tired, broken woman who had died, betrayed, and alone. It was me. Years younger, before everything collapsed. My lips trembled. I've been reborn. The thought hit me like a wave. The last thing I remembered was pain, darkness, and the cruel laughter of people I had once trusted. Now, here I was, back in the past, before it all began. I pressed my palm to the mirror. This time, I won't make the same mistakes. But as soon as I said that, a single name came to my mind. His. Ethan. The man who once loved me more than his own life. The man I had left behind, only to crawl back later when he was no longer the boy I knew, but the billionaire everyone admired. I had thought I could still claim him, but instead, I had destroyed myself. Now I was here again, with the chance to choose differently. I should have stayed away. I should have built my own life, but my chest ached with the memory of his smile, the warmth in his voice when he whispered my name. I closed my eyes. If I avoid him, maybe my life will be safe. Maybe I'll finally live free. But fate has a way of testing weakness. 2 days later, I saw him. It was on the street outside the university gates. He stood tall, his hair darker than I remembered, his jaw sharper. He wasn't the billionaire yet, not the man who would one day sit on thrones of power and wealth, but I could already see the fire in his eyes, the ambition that made people fear him later. Our eyes met. "You," he said, his voice carrying that same sharp edge. I froze. "Ethan." For a moment, neither of us moved. Then he walked closer, each step pulling the air out of my lungs. "You're alive," he muttered. "I thought you left the city." I forced a smile, my hands trembling behind my back. "I came back." Things didn't work out where I went. His eyes narrowed. "Didn't work out, huh?" "You always had a habit of running when it got hard." The words stung more than they should have. I lowered my gaze. "I know," he scoffed, folding his arms. "So why are you here now? Hoping I'll take you back? Hoping things will be like before?" My lips parted, but no words came. The truth was messy. I wanted to say I'd changed, that I only wanted peace. But deep down, I wanted him again. Not just him, the chance to rewrite my story. "I just wanted to see you," I whispered. He studied me for a long moment. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. Then he shook his head. "You're either brave or stupid. Maybe both." I forced a small laugh. "Maybe both." He turned away, as if to leave, then paused. "I don't know why you're here, but don't think you can walk back into my life like nothing happened. The world doesn't work that way." "I know," I said quickly. "I'm not asking for that." But in my heart, I was. When he finally walked away, I felt my chest twist with both relief and pain. I had seen him again, spoken to him again, and that alone had shaken every promise I made to myself. I leaned against the gate, my hands trembling. Why do I still want him? Because even in my second life, even after death itself, I couldn't let go. This time I told myself, I'll be smarter, I'll be stronger, I'll get close to him again, but I won't be destroyed. I closed my fists. This time I'll win. But a voice inside me whispered the truth I refused to admit, that the moment I chose to walk toward him again, I had already stepped back into the same fire that once burned me to ashes. Chapter 2. His New World. I thought meeting Ethan once would be enough. A brief glance, a few words, and then I'd walk away. But life doesn't work like that. 3 days later, I found myself standing outside the cafe where he always studied back then. My hands shook as I pushed the door open. The smell of coffee hit me, but what froze me was the sight of him. Sitting by the window, his posture confident, his focus sharp. He looked like he belonged to a world I couldn't touch. I swallowed hard. Why am I here? Why am I doing this to myself again? Still, my feet moved. He noticed me before I could say anything. His lips curved, but it wasn't a smile. "You again?" I forced a steady voice. "Can I sit?" He leaned back, studying me. You think you can just slide into my life again like nothing happened? I'm not trying to, I whispered, though even I didn't believe myself. His eyes narrowed. Then why are you here? I looked down at the table, because I regret things. And I thought maybe we could talk. Just talk. He snorted. Talk? That's rich. You ran when I had nothing. Now that I'm building something, you show up. Do you think I don't see through you? My chest tightened. That's not why I'm here. Then why? He pressed. His tone was sharp, but beneath it, I caught a flicker of something else. Hurt, maybe, or anger that never healed. I took a shaky breath. Because even if I messed up before, I don't want to spend the rest of my life pretending you don't matter. Silence. He tapped his fingers against the table, his gaze fixed on me. Finally, he said, You always had a way with words. I wonder if it's lies again. My throat went dry. Believe what you want. But I'm not here to play games. He chuckled darkly. Not here to play games? That's funny, because my world is nothing but games now. Business power, people smiling while sharpening knives behind your back. That's what I live in. And you think you can walk into it unscathed? The way he said it made my stomach twist. This wasn't the boy I once knew. He was harder, colder. I can handle it, I whispered, even though fear tugged at me. His eyes hardened. Don't say I didn't warn you. A group entered the cafe then. Men in sharp suits, women with polished smiles. They greeted him with respect, almost reverence. He stood, introducing himself with confidence I barely recognized. I watched as they leaned in, hanging onto his words, laughing at his jokes. This was his new world. Wealth, influence, ambition burning in every gesture. And I was just a shadow, sitting at his table, forgotten. When he finally returned, he smirked. See? This is who I am now. And you're still clinging to what's left of yesterday. My chest ached. I'm not clinging. I'm trying to what? Redeem yourself? His voice was sharp. Or trying to ride the wave now that you see where I'm going? I bit my lip, anger flashing. I don't need your money, Ethan. I don't need your power. My voice cracked. I just don't want to lose you again. His expression flickered for a moment, but then he leaned closer, eyes cold. Lose me? You already did. The words sliced through me. I couldn't reply. I just sat there, staring at the coffee in front of me, pretending my world wasn't collapsing all over again. When I finally stood, he didn't stop me. As I walked out of the cafe, the laughter from his new world followed me into the street. For the first time since my rebirth, doubt clawed at my heart. Maybe I never belonged here at all. Chapter 3. Old Flames. New Scars. I should have stayed away after the cafe, but I didn't. Something in me, desperation, pride, or maybe just foolishness, kept pulling me back. When Ethan invited me to a dinner gathering, I told myself it was a chance to mend things, maybe even to prove that I wasn't the same weak girl who abandoned him before. But the moment I stepped into that polished restaurant, I knew I didn't belong. Crystal chandeliers glittered above. Every table was filled with well-dressed men and women who carried themselves like royalty. They laughed too loudly, whispered too sharply, their words dripping with wealth and arrogance. Ethan stood at the center, surrounded by them. His hand rested on the shoulder of a woman in a crimson dress. She was beautiful, tall, graceful, with eyes that burned when they landed on me. "This is Claire," Ethan said, introducing her casually as if her presence meant nothing. "She's been helping me with some business projects." Claire's lips curved, but it wasn't a smile. It was a warning. "So this is the ex I've heard about." Heat flushed through me. I didn't realize you'd heard of me." "Oh, everyone's heard of you," she said smoothly. "The one who ran away. The one who only comes back now that he's finally shining." Her words were daggers dressed in silk. "I came back because—" I started, but Ethan cut in. "Because fate is funny," he said, his eyes fixed on me. "She left. Now she's back. People change, don't they?" The group chuckled, and I felt the walls close in. At dinner, I sat across from Ethan and Claire. Every time I tried to speak, someone interrupted with a sly remark or a half-hidden laugh. The conversations flowed around me, and I drowned in silence. Finally, Claire leaned forward, her voice sweet and poisonous. "Tell me, do you think you'll last in his world this time? Or will you vanish again when things get difficult?" My hands clenched under the table. "I didn't vanish because things were hard. I made a mistake, and I regret it. Ethan's fork clinked against his plate. Regret, he repeated. Funny word. It doesn't change what happened, though, does it? His tone was sharp, but his eyes, there was something buried there. Pain? Anger? Maybe both. I met his gaze. No, it doesn't change what happened, but it can change what happens now. The table fell silent for a moment, everyone watching us. Then Claire laughed, soft and cruel. So you think you deserve another chance? I don't expect anything, I said, my voice trembling but steady. But I won't run this time. For a moment, Ethan looked at me as if he didn't know what to say. But then Claire placed her hand over his. Don't let old flames distract you, she murmured. The way she said it, the way she claimed him in front of me, it sliced through my chest. Dinner dragged on, filled with more laughter at my expense, more reminders that I was an outsider in his world. When it ended, I tried to leave quickly, but Ethan caught my arm outside the restaurant. You shouldn't have come, he said quietly. My throat tightened. Then why invite me? His jaw clenched, because part of me wanted to see if you'd changed. But watching you tonight, he shook his head. You're still the same. I'm not, I whispered. I'm trying. He let go of my arm. Trying won't be enough here. And with that, he walked back inside, leaving me standing alone under the cold glow of the city lights. I hugged myself, the night air biting at my skin. Claire's voice echoed in my head, mocking, relentless. Maybe they were right. Maybe I didn't belong in his world anymore. But deep down, a stubborn fire lit inside me. If I truly had been given a second chance, I wasn't going to let it end like this. Not again. Chapter 4. The trap I built for myself. After that dinner, I should have walked away. But I didn't. Every day I told myself this will be the last time. Yet I kept answering Ethan's calls, kept showing up when he summoned me. I told myself I just wanted closure. Deep down, I wanted more. One evening, he asked me to meet him at his office. The skyscraper towered above me, glass walls reflecting the city lights. I stepped inside, heart racing, convincing myself that this time would be different. He was leaning against his desk when I entered, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened. He looked every bit the man who didn't need anyone, but his eyes, when they landed on me, were unreadable. You came, he said flatly. You asked, I replied. He smirked. Still the same. You always came when I called. The word stung. Maybe because part of me still... I stopped myself, shaking my head. Why did you ask me here? He circled me slowly, his voice low. You want a place in my life again. You want to prove you're different. I swallowed. I don't want your money. I don't want power. I just want... My voice cracked. I want a chance. He tilted his head, studying me. A chance, he repeated. Do you realize what my life is now? Every word is a weapon. Every smile hides a deal. Everyone wants something from me. I'm not everyone, I whispered. He chuckled softly, but there was no humor in it. That's what they all say. I clenched my fists. Why invite me back if you're just going to push me away? His gaze darkened, because part of me wants to see if you'll survive it this time. Before I could answer, the office door opened. Claire stepped in, her heels clicking against the marble floor. She froze when she saw me, her smile turning razor sharp. Oh, she said sweetly. I didn't realize you had company. Ethan's jaw tightened. Claire, not now. She ignored him, walking straight toward me. Still lingering. I see. Do you really think you can fit into this world? Into his life? I forced myself to stand tall. I'm not here to compete with you. Her laugh was soft but cutting. Of course you are. That's what makes it pathetic. Enough. Ethan snapped, but his voice only made it worse. Claire leaned close, her perfume suffocating. He's not the boy you left behind. He's mine now, and if you stay, you'll only embarrass yourself. I bit my tongue, refusing to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. She left soon after, her heels echoing like a victory march. The silence that followed was heavy. Ethan rubbed his temples. You see, this is the chaos you bring. My chest tightened. No, this is the chaos you let happen. His eyes snapped to mine. For a moment, I thought I saw a flicker of guilt, but then he looked away. I warned you, he said coldly. This world will eat you alive. Maybe I'll even let it. The words lodged in my chest like glass. I should have left. I should have told him I was done. But instead, I whispered, then I'll endure it. No matter what. He stared at me for a long time, then gave a small, bitter smile. Careful what you wish for. That night, as I walked out of his office, Claire's voice and Ethan's warning circled in my head. I told myself I was strong enough, that I could survive whatever trap I was stepping into. But deep down, I already knew. I wasn't walking into his world. I was walking into my own ruin. Chapter 5. Shattered Illusions. I had convinced myself things were improving. Ethan still spoke to me coldly, but at least he spoke to me. He didn't send me away. Sometimes, in fleeting glances, I thought I saw the boy I once loved, the warmth hidden beneath the armor. So when he invited me to a gala, I told myself it was proof. Proof that he was letting me in again. Proof that maybe I still had a place by his side. I spent hours choosing a dress. I told myself I'd walk in with dignity, that I'd show them all I wasn't the foolish girl they thought I was. But when I entered the glittering ballroom, every smile aimed at me felt sharp, every whisper stung. And then I saw him. Ethan stood at the center, dressed in a tailored suit, commanding the room like a king. His gaze flicked toward me briefly, unreadable before he turned back to the crowd. I forced myself to walk closer. "You look different tonight," I murmured when I reached him. He smirked faintly. "So do you." Trying to fit in, my chest tightened. "I thought you wanted me here." His eyes gleamed with something I couldn't name. "Oh, I do." Before I could ask what he meant, a chime rang through the hall, drawing attention. Ethan stepped forward, taking the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice smooth and commanding, "thank you for joining me tonight. It's time I share some news that will shape the future." My heart pounded. Is he going to? For one reckless moment, I imagined he'd call my name, that he'd tell the world he was choosing me again, that I had been given a second chance, and this time, I'd won. But then his next words sliced through me like knives. "I'd like to introduce someone important," he said. "The woman who has stood by me, who understands my world, who will walk into the future with me." He reached for a hand, and it wasn't mine. It was Claire's. The room erupted in applause as she stepped onto the stage, radiant in silver, her smile dripping with triumph. I couldn't breathe. My body turned cold as the crowd cheered. Ethan continued, his voice steady, almost cruel. "Claire and I are engaged. Together, we'll build something even greater." The cheers grew louder, champagne glasses clinked, and in the middle of it all, I stood frozen, shattered. Claire's eyes found mine. She didn't need words. Her smile said it all. "You lost. Again." I stumbled back, my throat closing. Someone laughed behind me. Someone else whispered, "Isn't that his ex?" Pathetic, isn't she? Their voices blurred into a storm, each word a dagger. I turned and pushed through the crowd, my heels clicking too loudly on the polished floor. I reached the balcony gasping for air. The night sky stretched above me, but all I could see was Ethan's face, cold and distant as he stood beside her. The door opened behind me. I stiffened. It was Ethan. "You shouldn't have come," he said quietly. I spun on him, my eyes burning. "Then why invite me? Why drag me here just to humiliate me?" He didn't flinch. "Because I wanted you to see. To finally understand what?" My voice cracked. "That I mean nothing to you? That Claire is everything?" His jaw tightened. "Understand that the past is dead. You left me when I was nothing. Don't think you can crawl back now that I've built an empire." My hands shook. "That's not why I came back. He cut me off, his eyes hard. "Then why?" Tears blurred my vision. "Because I loved you. Because even after everything, I still—" "Stop," he snapped. "Don't say that. Love isn't enough. Not in this world." The words hit harder than any slap. I staggered back, shaking my head. "So this was it? You wanted me here just to crush me?" He looked away, silent, and that silence was worse than cruelty. Finally, I laughed bitterly through the tears. "Congratulations, Ethan. You won." I pushed past him, the door slamming behind me as I fled the ballroom. The night air was cold, but not as cold as the emptiness inside me. I had been given a second chance, and I had wasted it chasing the same fire that burned me before. And now, once again, I was left with nothing but ashes. Chapter 6. Drowning in regret. I locked myself in my apartment that night and tore the dress off my body like it was poison. The sequins scattered across the floor, glittering like broken glass. I sat on the cold tiles, hugging my knees, trembling as the echoes of applause still rang in my ears. "Engaged," I whispered, my voice hollow. "He's engaged," and I stood there like a fool. My chest hurt so badly I thought my heart would stop. I buried my face in my hands. Why did I do this to myself again? Why did I chase him? I had been given a second life, a chance to change everything, and instead, I ran straight back into the arms of my greatest regret. The knock on my door startled me. I didn't move. Whoever it was, I didn't want them to see me like this, but the voice that followed was gentle, familiar. "Open up." "It's me." I dragged myself to the door. It was Anna, my oldest friend, the one who had warned me countless times before. She stepped inside, took one look at me, and sighed. "God, you look like hell," she muttered, pulling me into her arms. I clung to her like a drowning person. "He announced it, Anna. In front of everyone. He's marrying her." She held me tighter. "I told you he wasn't the same Ethan anymore." "You didn't listen." Tears blurred my vision. I thought maybe I could fix it. Maybe if I tried harder this time. She pulled back and grabbed my shoulders. "No, listen to me. You don't fix people who don't want to be fixed. You don't chase someone who wants you gone." Her words sank, deep, sharper than any knife. "But I loved him," I whispered. Anna's eyes softened. "And maybe you still do. But does he love you? Does he respect you? Number, he wanted to humiliate you tonight, and you let him." I flinched. "Don't say it like that." "It's the truth," she said firmly. "You can't waste your second chance repeating the same mistakes. You've been given something extraordinary. Stop living for him. Start living for yourself." Her voice cracked on that last word, and for the first time since the gala, I felt my tears slow. Living for myself. The thought felt foreign, almost impossible. When she finally left, I sat by the window, staring at the city lights. My reflection in the glass looked pale, broken, but not dead. I pressed my hand against the window pane. If this really is my second chance, I can't waste it on him anymore. But the ache in my chest didn't vanish. The memories of Ethan's eyes, his touch, his words, they haunted me. Days passed. I went through the motions of life, but inside, I was sinking. Every news headline about his engagement cut me open again. Every whisper of Claire's triumph was another blade. One night, unable to bear it, I found myself outside his building again. I told myself I wouldn't go up. I told myself I'd just look at the lights and remind myself I was done. But then I saw him coming out, Claire on his arm, reporters flashing cameras in their faces. I froze in the shadows. They looked perfect together, untouchable, radiant, like a king and queen of some cruel fairy tale. Claire's laugh echoed in the night, sharp and sweet. Ethan looked calm, collected, untouchable. For a brief moment, his eyes scanned the crowd, and I thought he saw me. My heart stopped, but he turned away as if I didn't exist. That was the moment I realized it. I wasn't part of his world anymore. Maybe I never was. The pain didn't vanish that night, but something shifted inside me. I whispered to myself, I can't keep drowning in him. I have to learn to swim alone. It sounded weak, almost laughable, but it was the first promise I'd made to myself since my rebirth that felt real. I walked away from the flashing cameras, from the lights, from him. My legs shook, but for the first time in a long while, I wasn't chasing him. I was chasing myself. Chapter 7. The Turn of Karma. I thought I'd never hear from him again. After the gala, I convinced myself Ethan was gone from my life for good. But fate is cruel and strangely fair. The first sign came in the form of whispers. Over coffee with Anna, I overheard businessmen at the next table muttering about Ethan's company. Investors are pulling out. Something about shady deals overseas. Claire's name came up too. Messy. My heart skipped, but I kept my face calm. Later that week, I saw it in the news myself. Headlines about contracts collapsing, rumors of betrayal inside his circle. The photos showed Ethan still smiling, still dressed like a king. But his eyes, I knew those eyes. They were hard, restless, cornered. Anna noticed me staring at the screen. Don't even think about it, she warned. I'm not, I said too quickly. She raised an eyebrow. You still care. I looked down at my hands. Maybe I do. But caring doesn't mean I'll run to him again. She sighed. Good, because men like him only come crawling back when they're desperate. I laughed bitterly. Then maybe I should be ready. I didn't think her words would come true so soon. 3 nights later, there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, Ethan stood there. His tie was loose, his hair a mess, shadows under his eyes. He looked nothing like the untouchable man from the gala. "Ethan," I breathed. He stepped inside without waiting. "You've heard the rumors, haven't you?" I crossed my arms. "Everyone has." He exhaled sharply. "They're turning on me. The same people who cheered for me. They're cutting me off now. And Claire," his voice faltered, "she's not who I thought she was." I almost laughed. "Now you see it." After everything, his eyes flashed. "Don't act like you don't enjoy this." "I don't," I said softly. I warned you. Everyone warned you. But you never listened." He raked a hand through his hair. "I didn't come here for lectures. I came because—" His voice dropped. "Because you're the only one I can trust." The words stunned me. My heart wanted to leap, but my mind screamed. I whispered, "Trust? After what you did to me? After humiliating me in front of the whole world?" His jaw clenched. "I regret that." I shook my head. "You regret being caught in your own mess. Don't confuse that with regretting how you treated me." Silence hung between us. He looked at me then, really looked at me, and for the first time in years, I saw desperation in his eyes. "I don't know what to do," he admitted quietly. A part of me wanted to reach for him, to say I'd help, to repeat the same cycle. But another part, the part that had drowned and clawed her way back, stayed still. "You'll figure it out," I said finally. "You always do." His lips parted as if he wanted me to say more, but I didn't. He left soon after, and when the door closed behind him, I collapsed onto the couch, shaking. My heart ached, my mind screamed, and yet for the first time, I realized something powerful. I had the choice now, not him. I whispered into the silence, "This time, it's not me who's falling. It's him." Chapter 8. My choice. My freedom. The next time Ethan came, he didn't look like the man I remembered at all. His suit was wrinkled, his tie missing, his confidence stripped bare. He stood at my door, silent at first, then whispered, "Please, let me in." Against my better judgment, I opened it. We sat across from each other, the table. Between us, carrying a silence thicker than air. His eyes were hollow, but there was a fire burning deep, the fire of a man cornered by his own choices. Finally, he spoke. "I made a mistake." I laughed bitterly. "Which one? There are so many." His jaw tightened. "Humiliating you. Letting Claire control things. Forgetting who you were to me. I thought—" His voice broke. "I thought I was punishing you. For leaving me before. But all I did was destroy myself." The words hit me like a storm. All those nights I begged for even a shred of regret, and here it was. But it didn't feel like victory. "You wanted to punish me?" I asked softly. He lowered his gaze. "Yes. I hated you for leaving. I hated you for making me believe I wasn't enough. So when you came back, I wanted you close. But I wanted you to suffer too." Tears burned my eyes, but I forced them back. "And it worked. You broke me all over again." His head snapped up, eyes desperate. "I don't want to lose you." "Not again. Not like this." I shook my head slowly. "You already did." The silence that followed was suffocating. He leaned forward, his voice raw. "Give me another chance. I'll cut ties with Claire. I'll fix everything. Just stay." My heart twisted. This was the moment I had once dreamed of, the moment he'd beg, the moment I'd win. But it didn't feel like winning at all. I whispered, "Do you know what I see when I look at you now? I don't see the boy I loved. I don't even see the man I thought I could forgive. I see someone who used me as a weapon against his own pain." His face paled. "That's not who I am." "It's exactly who you are," I said sharply, then softer. "And I can't let you drag me down again." He reached across the table, his hand trembling. "Please, I'll change." I pulled my hand back. "No. The truth is, Ethan, my rebirth wasn't about saving you. It was about saving me." His lips parted, but no words came. For the first time, I felt a strange calm settle over me. The ache was still there, but it no longer controlled me. "I loved you once," I said gently. "Maybe part of me still does. But love isn't enough. Not anymore." His shoulders slumped, his fire dimming. He looked smaller somehow, fragile. "I never thought you'd be the one walking away," he whispered. I stood, my voice steady. "Neither did I. But here we are." I walked him to the door. He lingered, as if waiting for me to call him back, to undo the words I had just said, but I didn't. When the door closed behind him, I leaned against it, my heart racing. And then, slowly, for the first time in 2 lives, I smiled, because I wasn't walking away in weakness. I was walking away in freedom. Chapter 9. His Fall, My Rise. The city never stops whispering. Every headline, every rumor, every late-night broadcast carried Ethan's name now, but not with the praise it once did. Failed contracts. Investors abandoning ship. Claire accused of fraud. The mighty king was stumbling, and the world was hungry to see him fall. I watched it all unfold from a distance. For once, I wasn't at the center of the chaos. I wasn't clinging to his shadow. I was free, watching from the outside. Anna called me one night, her voice filled with awe. "Do you see what's happening? He's losing everything." I hesitated. "Yeah, I see it. You don't sound happy," she pressed. I leaned against my window, staring at the skyline, because it doesn't feel like revenge. It feels sad. Anna was quiet for a moment. Then she said softly, "Maybe that means you're finally healing." Her words stayed with me. I didn't seek out Ethan, but he found me again anyway. Late one evening, I stepped out of a bookstore, and there he was, leaning against his car, looking nothing like the man who once owned the world. His suit was cheap, his eyes bloodshot, his hands trembling around a cigarette he didn't finish. "Can we talk?" he asked. I crossed my arms. "About what?" "How far you've fallen." He winced. "I deserve that." "No," I said quietly. "You deserve worse." His lips parted, but no words came. For a long moment, he just stood there, defeated. Finally, he whispered, "I don't know who I am without all of it." The words cut through me, not with love, but with clarity. This was the man I had once begged for, and now he was begging the world to remember him. "You'll figure it out," I said. He reached for me then, desperation in his eyes. "Stay with me. Help me rebuild, please. I can't do it alone." I stepped back. "I did stay with you, Ethan." "Twice. And both times, you broke me. This time, I'm choosing myself." The silence between us felt final. He didn't argue. He just dropped his gaze and nodded slowly, as if he finally understood. When I walked away, I didn't look back. The following weeks, I focused on me. I started studying again, investing in small projects with the knowledge I'd carried from my first life. They weren't grand. Not yet, but they were mine. Each step forward felt like reclaiming a piece of myself I thought was lost forever. And as Ethan's empire crumbled behind me, I realized something powerful. I didn't need his fall to rise. I was rising on my own. Chapter 10. The Life I Choose. It was raining the night Ethan came for the last time. I heard the knock on my door, soft but insistent, and for a moment I considered pretending I wasn't home. But something in me wanted to face it, to end it. When I opened the door, he stood there, drenched from head to toe, his hair plastered to his forehead, his eyes hollow. The once proud billionaire was gone. "Please," he whispered, "let me in." I stepped aside. He walked in slowly, as if carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. We sat at the table again, the same one where he had once begged for another chance. Only this time the silence felt heavier. Finally he spoke. "It's all gone. The money, the company, the people, even Claire. She left the moment things turned ugly." I stayed quiet, waiting. He looked at me with raw, broken eyes. "You were right. About everything. And I was wrong. About you. About us." I folded my hands in my lap. "Why are you here, Ethan?" His voice cracked. "Because I have nothing left but regret. And because even now, even after everything I did, you're the only one I think of when the world falls apart." The confession should have made me feel vindicated, but instead, I only felt tired. "You think words will fix what you broke?" I asked softly. He shook his head. "No, I know they won't. But if there's even the smallest chance, if there's even one piece of you that still—" I cut him off. Don't say love. You don't get to use that word with me anymore." His lips trembled. He lowered his head. "Then what do I do? How do I live with what I've done?" I stared at him for a long moment. This man, The one I had loved, hated, chased, and lost was no longer my world. He was just a broken chapter of my past. "That's your journey," I said quietly. "Not mine." He flinched. "So, that's it? After everything, you just walk away?" A bitter smile touched my lips. "You walked away from me long before I ever left you. Tonight, I'm just choosing not to follow." He leaned back, his shoulders slumping, his fight gone. For the first time, I saw him truly defeated, and yet, instead of triumph, I felt peace. I stood and walked to the door. "Goodbye, Ethan." He looked up at me, eyes glistening. "I'll regret losing you until the day I die." I nodded. "And I'll live, knowing I finally chose myself." I opened the door, and he stepped out into the rain. He didn't look back. Neither did I. When the door closed, I leaned against it and let out a long, shaky breath. My chest still ached, but it wasn't the crushing pain of before. It was the ache of healing. I walked to the window and watched the rain streak across the glass. The city lights blurred into soft glows, and for the first time, I didn't feel small beneath them. I whispered to myself, "This life is mine now, and I'll live it on my own terms." The second chance I had been given wasn't about rewriting the past. It was about writing a future where I was no longer defined by Ethan's love or his betrayal. I didn't know what tomorrow held. Maybe success, maybe failure, maybe even love again. Someday. But whatever came, it would be mine. And that was enough.